feel?
Good. I think I just had a contraction
Oh God, no.
or pain.
Like the electric crotch?
It's hard to know. No, not lightning crotch. Lightning crotch, I think, is actually in the vagina. I think what I was just experiencing was lower abdomen period pain, which could be a contraction. Well, I'm 38 weeks. No time like the present to start this Q&A that I promised. It took a lot for us to sit down. Johnny, my fiance, we got engaged on Christmas Day, Christmas morning in front of our parents. It was really special. We cried a lot. His family cried. None of them knew he was going to do that. Anyway, my fiance is recording. So thank you, fiance. I forgot your name. What is it?
Just fiance.
Just fiance Carlson?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
You can call me
Just-
Fion.
Fiance. Russell was on my lap. He's leaving now. I figured he was going to be in the whole shot during the whole question because he's been following me around. Dogs, I think, sense when the mother is pregnant with child. Apparently, they can hear both heartbeats. I'm not a scientist. I've done no research. This is all just hearsay. And everything that I say from this point on is my opinion, my experience. I'm not a doctor. I don't claim to know anything. I can only go off of what I know and my own experience. So take what you like and leave the rest, okay? What's the rudest thing told to you about your pregnancy? Someone the other day, I posted a story about me going on a hike and how I made it to the top and had to turn around, and someone wrote, "Do you really think that's really smart on this phase of your pregnancy?" I thought that was kind of rude. I also think it's rude when women come up to me and tell me it's going to really hurt and it's going to be extraordinarily hard and you're never going to sleep again. I find that rude. We're always programming each other in every moment. And I think a lot of people don't know that, so it's okay. They don't mean to. I'm sure these people are trying to help me by, warning me, but they don't know my experience. They're only going off of their own experience. And so I think we need to be just a little bit more careful with what we say to each other. And if you're going to say anything, make sure it's something positive, like it's going to be really easy for you. Because then you're laying in that programming of, oh, could be easy for me. Right? Like everybody has a different birth. Some people have pain-free births. Some people have painful births. Some people have epidurals. Some people are unmedicated. Some people take 50 hours of labor. Some people take 10 hours of labor. Some people do it in a bathtub and the kid doesn't cry. Some people do it at the hospital pushing. Some people have C-sections. There's no right way. There just is what it is. And I'm excited to see what my experience is, and then I'm excited to share with you guys. I don't know, I guess rude is an interpretation, so, I try not to take personally what anybody says, because I'd like to call in and manifest a more easeful experience. And the way that I'm going to do that is through hypnobirthing, the way that I talk to myself, breathing. Again, all this could go to shit and I could come back in 2 weeks and be like, oh my God, it was horrific and horrible, and oh my God, I had no idea. I'm open to that option. I'm just open to anything. I'm open to having an easeful experience. One way that I combat feeling additional pain than necessary, right? Because then there's pain, there's intensity, and then there's the resistance that sometimes we as humans experience, which is resisting the pain, trying to make it go away, pushing it away, which adds more pain than necessary. What if we act like we chose the pain, right? Like we welcome it, okay? Or if I relabel it, instead of saying pain, oh, this hurts, I can tell myself, right? Because so much of pain is in the mind, it starts in the mind, is, whew, this is intense. I'm choosing this. I chose birth. My body knows what it's doing. And if I have that narrative instead of, please, no, God, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm probably going to have just a little bit of an easier time if I'm talking to myself a certain way. And so I think a lot of hypnobirthing has to do with that. I'm still actually in the process of learning about hypnobirthing, so I'm not quite there yet. Like if my water broke right now, I would have no idea how to give birth. And so I'm really hoping to have a spiritual experience here, which I can't imagine how it wouldn't be. There's going to be a baby coming out of my vagina that I have known, but I haven't seen physically, and I'm really excited for that. Okay, next question. What have you enjoyed most about pregnancy? I would say all the compliments and people opening the door. Just today, I got my parking validated at the gym, and they did not want to do it. And I said, but what about I'm pregnant? And they said, still no. But because I was the guest of someone that worked there, then they stamped it. So I guess that wasn't really about me being pregnant.
It's not at all about pregnancy.
Yeah. People say I glow. Ugh. Johnny doesn't like that. Johnny wants me to always be positive about myself, which I appreciate. I have felt pretty good. I think I've had an overall really simple pregnancy. There was one hiccup for a few months with a huge rash down my right side, which I later found out, which we think was candida, which is a yeast that feeds on sugar, flour, dairy, eggs. So basically everything that tastes good, yeast feeds on. And I don't think I would have broken out in a rash otherwise, but because the baby didn't want it, it was like pushing it out through my skin. So what I ended up doing, and this was not OB recommended, I went to the OB and she said, oh, I don't know, hormones, it'll go away after birth. And I was like, okay, well, I'm giving birth in like 6 months. I don't want this rash anymore. So I went to some alternative places because I was desperate, and she did some muscle testing and some energy work and looked at me, and I guess has done this for 30 years and knew right away, like, oh, that's candida coming out of your skin, and your pH is off because you're pregnant, so I want you to take aloe vera pills for 30 days, and then you're gonna take this specific charcoal, and so that we can reroute the candida another way out of the butthole and piss, I'm assuming. Sorry, that's gross. It is what it is. We're all human. And so it doesn't come out of your skin because that's painful. It's like burning. And I did it, and it took about a month, but it's gone. And I also stopped feeding the candida with gluten, dairy, eggs, and sugar. Now I'll occasionally have like little bites of sugar here and there because I have a sweet tooth. And yeah, so if that has happened to you, rashes are very common. They happen for many different reasons. That was really the worst part of my pregnancy. Everything else has been really good and easy. And I think changing my diet has helped me feel pretty good. There's a lot of really fun hormones that come around the second trimester that have been really pleasant. The first month was hard because I was nauseous a lot, but I never puked. And so I think every pregnancy is different. I know some women that are nauseous and throwing up every day of their pregnancy. I know some that never did. I can only go off of my own experience. I think I've had a pretty good pregnancy. Lately though, I'm in my third trimester, I'm 38 weeks, and so I have like 2 weeks left, maybe. It could happen right now also. And sometimes I cry, which is fine if I don't judge it. And I would say sleeping's hard because you have to sleep on your side. So I find that I'm wailing left, wailing right, can't lay on my back because apparently it's hard for oxygen for the baby in certain points, and I obviously can't lay on my stomach because I'd crush the baby, and I don't want to do that. So what are you laughing at?
Crush the baby.
Yeah, you don't want to crush the baby. You gotta let the baby breathe. So that's that. Do you get leg cramps? Oh my gosh, this was my worst memory. Otherwise, I love being pregnant. Yes. Not anymore because I've been taking magnesium, which helps relax the muscles. But there were a few mornings where I woke up kind of screaming because I got Charlie horses, which is like a tightening of the muscle cramp in my calves. And then Johnny would massage them out, and then my legs would be sore the rest of the day. And so I've had to take a lot of magnesium, and since doing that, it hasn't happened, thank God. But it's really scary and it hurts. Were your expectations of pregnancy different than reality? Yes. I didn't know what being pregnant was like. I'd only heard that it was horrible and that it was really hard and oh my God, I don't want to be pregnant. I've actually, other than the rash and this last month, I like being pregnant. I thought it's been really fun. There's been good hormone feelings. Everyone's so nice. I get kind of an excuse to rest a little bit more. And so I've really loved being pregnant, and I did not anticipate that. I had no idea what it would be like, but my ideas were what I'd seen in the movies and TV shows and what some people would talk about, which is just like, oh, pregnant, oh God. And so I think I am glad that I had that expectation, because it like lowered the bar for me, right? Because our serenity is in direct proportion of our expectation. And so if we have low expectations, then usually things can come across like a gift. But if we have really high expectations all the time, then we're probably leading ourselves up for disappointment. Are you doing a natural birth or a water birth, or what are you doing? So I'm gonna try this one to have as much labor at home as possible and then zip over to the hospital and plop it out. I'm really excited for the hospital that we are going to. We took a maternity tour and it was really beautiful, really good vibes. So I feel like I want both experiences, and if I'm lucky enough to have another child, that one I will do water birth at home, obviously, if I can, so that I can have all the experiences. And, you know, I think after giving it birth this first time, I will have had the experience and muscle memory to have the confidence to do it at home. So, and I don't plan on getting an epidural, right? Like it's not my plan. I'm open to, if I change my mind, if it's not too late, but my plan is to be unmedicated and to practice hypnobirthing and just heavy breathing and animal sounds like apparently if you open this, that opens too, and I'm very a primal person.
And relaxing your face. This means
Oh, you can't relax your face during birth. Don't go, just go, Have you had any weird cravings during pregnancy? I had heard about ice cream and popcorn and pickles and all this stuff, and I haven't really had many cravings at all. The only thing that I switched was I wasn't eating chicken or poultry for like 6 years, and now I am. So my body, I guess, was craving birds, but I'm probably gonna stop eating birds. I don't even like saying it like that. Birds, bees. I'm gonna stop. I feel like once I give birth, I'm gonna not do the poultry anymore, because it kind of grosses me out when I think about it. Is it possible to think of a second baby when you're about to welcome your first? Yes, I've thought a lot about a second baby. There's periods of my pregnancy where I'm like, I can't think about having another kid. Maybe we're just gonna have one. I don't wanna have to do this again. And then there's periods where I'm like, I can't wait to do this again. How about we have 2 or 3? So it just ebbs and flows. It's never one static thing. I've been able to have many visions about many different ways of how life could go during this pregnancy. What prenatals do you take? What prenatals do you take? Any other pregnancy nutrition info would be great. I took prenatals by Thorne, and I did throw up one day in my pregnancy because I took too many vitamins, and I was driving to an event. I think it was like a women's event, and I had to pull over and puke in a bag. And that was not my first trimester. That was like a month ago. It was wild and creepy and scary because I don't like throwing up. But luckily I had a plastic bag. And don't take too many vitamins. And I ate too. You're supposed to eat and then take vitamins. There's certain ones that if they go overboard, they can make you a little sicky. Take vitamin D, magnesium, and I had to start taking calcium because I wasn't eating dairy. And baby needs strong bones. So I think calcium's good. Have Braxton Hicks started? I don't know. Sometimes my belly hardens. Sometimes I get pain down here. I think those are Braxton Hicks. It's really hard for me to tell. I think I have a deep fear of like being wrong or getting something wrong, and so I don't want to like label something if it's not what it is. But if the hardened belly and or period kind of like pain has anything to do with Braxton Hicks, then yes, it has started.
What about hiccups?
Oh yes, the baby has had hiccups like every day. The little baby is hiccuping, not right now, but it's really cute when it happens because I just picture him in there like, yup, yup, yup. And it's this, you can tell it's hiccups because it's a rhythmic beat. It happens at the same pace, same space, little heartbeat thingy on the belly. It's pretty cute, actually. Will it just be you and Johnny in the room? No. I think my parents will be there, a couple friends, some of my followers. I'm gonna just have it packed, like it's a stage, like I'm on stage doing a bit, but instead of a bit, it's a baby coming out of my vagina. Yeah, it'll just be Johnny and the doula. And then, of course, I guess the nurses come in and out. I don't know. Cloth or disposable diapers? I think I'm gonna do disposable diapers. We have disposable diapers. We don't have any cloth diapers.
Wash diapers over and over? Are you kidding me?
I mean, apparently it's probably healthier.
Oh,
Is it though? I
sounds
don't know. It sounds tiring. I don't want to be tired. Additionally, on top of taking care of a boy, child, baby, infant. Stretch marks. What oil do you use or lotion? I don't have stretch marks. I didn't get them. I think it's genetic, I'm assuming. I don't know why some people get them, some people don't. I'm sure weight gain has a lot to do with that. So far, I have gained 28 pounds and I'm in the home stretch. I'll probably gain 30 by the end. That being said, you know, some companies sent some stuff. There was one, 8 sheep organics. Sometimes I'll dribble that on and rub it, but I like it and it feels good, and I think it's good to rub stuff on your belly, I guess, you know, if it's not chemicals. But I think it's a genetic thing. I mean, if I gained 60 pounds, I probably would have stretch marks, because I have stretch marks on the side of my hips from when I was younger, when I grew really fast. I think that's how they work. Well, you just grow, your skin stretches fast and then you get stretch marks. Yeah, so I have them on my side from a long time ago, but I don't have them on my belly, which I'm grateful for. This is a very common question. I've actually gotten this from people that I know. Were you trying to get pregnant? Yes, it was absolutely part of the plan. We had talked about it actually for years. I was ready much sooner than Johnny, not only because I'm a bit older, but just my body was ready. You know, guys are different than women and we have a biological clock. And so he actually was on the couch and he looked at me and said, "Do you want to have a baby with me?" And I said yes, and we both teared up, and it was a really beautiful moment. It felt like he was proposing, which is why I think when he actually proposed, I was like, I feel like we've been married. It's really interesting. So being engaged is like, yeah, of course, he's already my husband. This doesn't, it's weird. It's like discombobulating for my brain to process, but I think everything is happening just the way that it's supposed to. And I think it was like a month later that we conceived after he asked me to have a kid with him. And so, yeah, it was planned. And I know it's out of traditional order, but it really just doesn't matter. If you're with the right person and you're content, there's nothing to rush. There's nothing to force. Things just are what they are, and they happen when they happen. And, you know, left to Johnny's way of doing things, we probably will never get married because he'll take 80 years to find a location. My joke is that he's so slow moving and I'm so fast paced moving that, you know, I actually was like, I've maybe I'll propose to you. And he's like, oh, no. And then he rushed to do it. I wouldn't have done that. I would never have taken that from him because I know it's been a dream of his for a long time to marry me. He stalked me for 15 years before we found each other, and he locked me down.
This is terms for
disengagement. This is our baby talk. A lot of people probably hate it and think it's disgusting, but we think it's really cute. Everyone thinks that their baby talk is cute between the two partners, but then everybody around them is like, this is so annoying. So let me know in the comments how annoying that voice was. Do you have a doula? Have you been reunited with your vagina? I've not seen my vagina in a long time. I can't even bend that way. I don't even know if it's still there. Do you miss Vine? What? What's your due date? January 19th, 2024. I predict he will come January 24th, 222 p.m. Pregnancy advice to a freshly 3-week pregnant mom. Just give her so much love. The pregnant people, I feel like they get love when they're out and about, but then when they're home, like check on them. Check on your pregnant friends. Ask them how they're feeling. Can you do anything? Like, I feel like pregnant women are going through so much, not just hormonally and personally. I can speak for myself. Like, there were many times where I feel like my identity was shifting. I was losing not friends, but like losing my parts of myself and having to acclimate to this new idea that I was going to be pregnant. And so I think check on them, see how they're doing. Like even just, hey, I'm thinking about you could be so helpful, because it can be kind of isolating if one of your friends who was someone you used to like party with or hang out with or go do things is now like having to rest because they feel nauseous and they're at home and they feel alone. And there's nothing worse than feeling isolated and alone. And so if you're pregnant, find a community, find other pregnant women to talk to. I got to meet like 5 to 7 pregnant women that were all due around my time. And these are women that I've admired from afar, but I haven't like really gotten to connect to. And I got to connect with them and ask them questions and bond. And they would ask me questions and how are you feeling? Oh my God, I'm feeling the same way. And it's comforted me so much. So you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to be with yourself. You can, but also like there are women that are going through the exact same thing you're going through, and we need that community more than ever. And you know, some friends will drop away, and that's okay because they're on a different path and they're not having babies, and that's also okay. And so let them drop away because that's making space for new friends. And so it's all good. This one's hard. Tips for early stage when everything I do stresses me out that I'll miscarry. First of all, that is I think letting that thought in and just being, okay, I'm stressing this out. I'm thinking this, I'm choosing this thought. Because I've had many thoughts. I think that's a common thing for women who are carrying, to fear that they will lose the baby or something bad will happen. And sometimes I'll talk to my partner about this and he's like, I've had every negative thought that there is. And it's like, okay, so it's just thoughts. It doesn't have to mean anything. It doesn't need to mean like, oh, if I have this thought, then it's going to happen. Just go, okay, have the thought, say hello to the thought, let it come and go. And just know that it's been comforting to me to know that my baby has a higher power of his own. He has his own God. He has his own spirit, his own path. So I can let that pressure of me being the perfect host and me being the perfect mother and making sure that nothing happens to him. He doesn't need that energy. He just needs me to be as relaxed and calm and happy, taking care of myself as I can so that he can just do his thing. And even though we are one and we are connected, we still at some point will be separate, and I'm going to have to practice every day to just like let him have his own experience. Obviously his life will depend on me taking care of him for a while, but like if there's something wrong with the baby and a person miscarries, that is the body knowing something wasn't quite right and it's taking care of itself, and hopefully you'll have another opportunity. The body is so smart. The body knows itself really well, and you don't need that stress. It's not to say to resist the thought. It's just to say, okay, I see you thought, I hear you. You can go now if you'd like. and just knowing that it's normal. I think every mother has worried about that many times. Are you worried about pooping while giving birth? No. Was I supposed to? Is that going to happen? Did you know from the beginning that you wanted a child? The beginning of what? My life? No. I definitely have wanted children for a really long time. I never felt really ready, but I always felt like in the back of my mind that everything that I was doing was leading me to be a mother. So all the spiritual healing and spiritual journeys and health kicks and money saving, all of that has felt like it's in service to future motherhood. And so a lot of the things that I said no to in my 20s that would have been so fun and self-serving, I felt like I was having to make a hard turn this way so that I could become a woman of integrity and honesty, so that I could be a mother to the children that I bear and bring into the earth, because I really want to be a mother and I really want to leave the planet better than when I found it. I know that sounds so cliche, but I really mean that. I want to pass on really good, loving energy to kids so that they can thrive and make the planet happy and enjoyable. And I also think family is fun, and I love love and I love playfulness, and I think kids have a wild imagination, and I'm excited to, see life through their eyes. Did you have any bleeding early on? No, but at 36 weeks on Christmas Eve, there was a little bit of blood, and it was a little bit scary because I think for Johnny, he was going to propose the next day, so he was kind of having his own freak out. And I was just like, we're up north, we're 5 hours, 6 hours away from the hospital. I really don't want to go into labor up here. And I didn't. And that's the only time I bled. And luckily, Johnny's mom stood in line to get something at the grocery store and talked to this woman who was pregnant. And his mom was like, oh, I'm stressed because my daughter-in-law bled a little bit, and the woman was like, oh my God, that's so normal. I've been bleeding my whole pregnancy. Or I think that was kind of like a God shot that she talked to that woman, because it calmed my mother-in-law down and then calmed us down, and we were like, okay, it's nothing. It's just changes in the cervix, or it could mean so many different things, right? Like if it was a lot of blood, I would have probably been more alarmed, but it was just a little bit. And so I reached out to my doula, and she said probably changes in the cervix, and then I just took it easy the rest of the day. Oh, how to feel sexy when pregnant? I think I started feeling sexier at times. So I don't know what that is, but I started being shirtless more in the world. My boobs filled out. I felt more voluptuous. I felt more comfortable. I feel like this is what my body's meant to do. So I actually started feeling more sexy. I don't always feel that way. I will say, like, even last night I was rolling around like feeling like a whale. Like there's nothing sexy about feeling like I can't get up from the couch. So I understand. If I'm not feeling sexy, just knowing it's a feeling and it's coming from a thought. So what thoughts are you having about yourself? If you're saying, I love and approve of my sexy body 10 times, eventually your cells are listening to you and you might feel a shift in your body. Start feeling pleasure within yourself first before going to anyone external for validation. It's, first of all, people love pregnant women. There is something very sexy about a woman in her pregnancy because it's just biological, and half of the planet is primed for getting pregnant. So like the story that like, oh, pregnant women aren't attractive, that's a lie. That's just a lie. It's false. And if you're telling yourself that you're not sexy because you're pregnant, that's another lie, I believe. And maybe it's not, I don't know. It's to each their own. Everyone has a different opinion, but why not be delusional and lie to yourself and just say, I'm so beautiful and sexy? Because if you believe that, then you are. And that's the energy that will come through as you're having those thoughts. I think it's easier said than when you're in the last trimester, when you're very heavy, but You decide you're sexy. Nobody else does. Did you feel pregnant before you took the tests? In some ways, I would say not really. However, I was crying a lot. And I thought, this is weird. I'm a crier in general because I'm a Pisces moon. I've always been an emotional person. I felt like the month that I was pregnant, I was crying, and then it just kept going and kept going. And I was like, okay, I'm crying normally. I'm crying a lot longer than normal. And I found that fascinating. And so when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, oh, okay, that makes so much sense. I was crying so much.
Any unexpected tips or random things to tell anyone else thinking to get pregnant or newly pregnant?
If you're wondering if it's a good time to get pregnant, I would just say go for it. But if you're somebody that is like, I want to have a family, I would say start trying right away and don't put too much pressure on yourself. Like, just be in the moment, be receptive, relax, trust your body, and find a partner that is on the same page as you, that wants to have a family. Find someone who has your values. Find someone that has the same vision of family life. Don't put it off. If having children is important to you, I'd say get on it. All the things that I worried about of like, well, but my individuality and my creativity and what's going to happen, it's going to change my life. A lot of people project a lot of stuff of like, your whole life's going to change and you're not going to have time for yourself anymore. First of all, that's limited thinking. That's what I hear is limited thinking. You can have it all, just maybe not all at the same exact time. And I fully plan on still living my life and traveling. And yeah, it will be different, but it'll be so much more full. And that's not to say, if you don't want to have kids, great, then don't have kids. But if there's a part of you that thinks that you might, really sit with that, because there's a window. And that's not to scare anybody, it's just to put it in realistic terms, is don't let the moment pass you by, because the older a woman gets, especially in their late 30s, 40s, it's a lot harder. And I don't know, I feel like this is going to start controversy, but your body knows, and your body is intelligent, and the younger you are, the better chance you have to get pregnant. It's that simple. It's not an opinion. It's not my decision. It's just science. And so people that are scared to have kids in their 20s or early 30s, don't be. You'll be fine. We take this life one day at a time, and we figure it out one day at a time. I don't need to figure out how to take care of a 10-year-old today. I need to take care of how to be pregnant in this moment, because that's what's happening. And I think we get too ahead of ourselves and create stories and create anxieties of like, I should know how to do this. No, you don't. Where are you? Where are your feet? Where are you right now? What are your five senses? What do you see, hear, taste, touch, feel? I don't need to know how to give birth this second, but I can do some research and learn a little bit about it. And then when the time comes, breathe through it, and the body knows. And so you deserve to, if you want a family, to have a family. I don't know, I wouldn't wait. And I waited as long as I could. So grateful to have had this opportunity to be pregnant and to carry this sweet little boy who I already love so much. Question?
What's your advice on listening to the stories or listening to your gut about your partner, and if that's who you should have a kid with?
Yeah, so in my previous marriage, I was definitely following the story of what I thought was like a fairy tale. I listened to his words rather than my own gut and my own body. My body was leaning back, almost trying to protect itself. At some point, it wasn't like that the entire relationship, but at some point in the relationship, my body started leaning back, trying to protect itself. It did not, if I'm honest, want to procreate with him, but my story was in support of starting this family. We're going to have kids, all of these things, and I was following that. which obviously didn't work because I wasn't following my gut, I wasn't following my heart or my body, mind, and soul. So once I was out of that relationship and learned the lesson of, okay, like I'm going to start listening to my body and my self more, and that is my mission, that will always lead me. My intuition will always lead me, which I didn't learn until later in life, which is fine. Once I was in a new partnership, my body was like instantly, I felt such a warmth and a safety. And we as women, we can't really thrive in an unsafe, unbalanced environment. It's hard. I mean, we're called crazy, but I think that a lot of that comes from perhaps our partner is somebody that doesn't feel safety and protection within themselves. And so we pick up on that because we're intuitive, and then we're like, well, what are you doing late at night? Why are you on the da-da-da? And then we sound crazy, but perhaps we're in a partnership that isn't right, and maybe something is going on, and maybe we are picking up in some inauthenticity. That's not to say generalize and say that everything is that way, but I will say that when I met my fiance, I felt a sense of warmth and safety, and I think that's because he trusts himself. He carries safety and protection within himself, and I could pick up on that, and I immediately felt this is a person I could procreate with. This is a person I want to make a child with. Would be ideal for my child to have this man as a father because he's so solid, and therefore any trust issues that I may have come into the relationship with and dissolved very quickly because there was no instability. Find somebody that's stable and knows themselves, you will eventually feel calm, and that's who to procreate with. That's who you should be in a relationship with, is somewhere where you feel safe, calm, protected, loved, nourished. So good luck out there. There's stories that we create in our head and narratives, but that's all up here. What do you feel in here? Let this lead you. And we can change our story at any time. So just because you decide one day you met the person that you're with, if you get more information and you change your mind, that's also okay. Do you have another question, sir? In the back.
What do I look like?
What do you look like? Is that what?
Is sex better or worse in pregnancy?
Sex is so much better in pregnancy. I don't want to say better. It's pretty good if you got a good. Sex is great if you're with someone who's safe and grounded and blah, blah. Sex, that is a huge perk in pregnancy. Is the sensations. Very intense. Everything is more intense and alive in pregnancy, and therefore the pleasure is times 11 when sex happens, for me at least. I think that it's a very common through line.
Damn.
Oh, damn.
Would you advise women to...
Have sex? Yes. Have sex. Women have sex. I would advise women to fully feel their sensuality in pregnancy. Feel it all. Cry, laugh, scream, rage, all the things. We are sensual beings by nature. That's how the babies come. Think about that. Babies are born during sex. As physically close as two humans can get, and the most expressive and free humans get creates life. So sex is good because it creates life. There's no shame. Mic drop. Out. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for watching. I love you guys. I'll see you on the other side because I'm 38 weeks. It could happen. Wah!